I know that when you appeared before us, we did have you take an oath, but we do have to do it every time you appear before this body. So you don't have to stand up, sir. You can sit down, but thank you. Just please raise your right arm. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of law that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Again, would you kindly state for the record your name, your title, and the agency you represent?
Arnold Seman, Police Sergeant, DPS.
Thank you, Sergeant. Sergeant Seman, just for clarification, at the time of, what was it, January, at about that time when the masseuse, release of the masseuse took place, were you with DPS or were you with DOC?
DOC, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Sergeant Seman, we did dismiss you last time and asked you if you wish to retain your own legal counsel. Did you come here with the legal counsel?
I came here alone, sir.
Thank you. Sergeant Seman, we do have already quite a few affidavits that pretty much describe the events of that early morning. We do not have any affidavit from yourself. Do you recall if you submitted an affidavit or a declaration, I think is a legal term, regarding that incident?
Yes, I did. Self-evident.
Thank you. Further, Sergeant Seman, were you able to view or review the declaration or self-statement provided by other DOC officers such as Captain Georgia Cabrera?
No, I did not.
Abigail Borja?
No, I didn't.
Commissioner Dolores Odon?
No.
These are public records already. I think we can safely state some of the things that occurred early that morning. Members may be asking you questions relative to that incident. If you feel that any statement or any question that is posed may put you at risk of what do you call this, self-incrimination, you are aware that you may plead the Fifth Amendment?
I am aware, sir.
Thank you. Would any of the members wish to start? What I was going to ask is maybe if I may go over a summary, if you will, of the events, and maybe you can clarify me if this is not correct based on your recollection. I won't state everything that happened, I mean, down to the time, but it basically starts with Captain Cabrera being called in to DOC by the commissioner at the time, and to report to DOC in uniform, which she did. And when she arrived, she saw the commissioner's car in the vehicular sally port. Entering the building through the sally port, she saw the commissioner in the booking area. There she also saw a female detainee in a red inmate's uniform. Commissioner asked her if she had her handcuffs. She did not. She stated she did not. Commissioner instructed her to handcuff the detainee So she directed a correction officer to handcuff the detainee. She then retrieved her firearm and looked at the time. It was roughly about 3:05 a.m. And sometime around this time, she reported that you arrived at the vehicular sally port and entered the booking area, and that you came out of the booking area with the female detainee into the vehicular sally port. It says here that you and the female detainee entered a car. The commissioner entered into another car and told her to follow you and the detainee. Is that so far a fairly, based on your recollection, was it kind of what happened?
Fairly, sir, but you did not mention Captain Georgia with me in the vehicle with the detainee.
It doesn't. It just says here that you and the female detainee entered a car. The commissioner entered another car, and the commissioner told her to follow you and the detainee. So that means there were at least 3 cars. You in one, you and the detainee in one, the commissioner in one, and I think her in another one, Captain Cabrera in another one.
That's not correct, sir.
Was it correct? Just from your standpoint, you were with the detainee. Is that correct?
With Captain Georgia Cabrera.
With Captain Georgia Cabrera. Okay, thank you. And that makes sense since she is a female detainee, and I'm not sure, but it's probably standard operating procedure that whenever you have a female detainee, that there needs to be a female corrections officer with her as well, right?
That's correct.
Thank you. And that makes sense. And it goes on. Please state your point.
The earlier question, and I think there was reference that the declaration submitted by Captain Cabrera is not correct. However, if we look at page 2, line 6, it says 7 and female detainee entered a car. The commissioner entered another car and told me to follow Seman and the detainee. I got in the car with them and left. So I believe that those lines place Officer Sergeant Seman, Captain Cabrera, and the detainee in the one vehicle. So I just thought I'd state that so that there's not misunderstanding between the two versions. I think there's only one version here.
That's correct, sir.
And thank you, Reb. I think the reason was I didn't get to that next sentence yet, but where it says I got in the car with them and we left. I hadn't gotten to that part of the paragraph yet, but nevertheless, Sergeant Seman seemed to confirm what Captain Cabrera reported or declared. Captain Cabrera then inquired, I think she asked you where you guys were going, and you responded to the governor's house. And shortly thereafter, you guys arrived. The governor's wife, Josie, met you at the door and entered the house. Is that also pretty much what happened? You guys, Captain Cabrera asked you where you guys were going. You said to the governor's residence. You did arrive shortly thereafter. The governor's wife, First Lady Josie, met you guys at the door, and that's when you entered the house.
That's correct, sir.
Thank you. And really, the next paragraph after that basically states that after entering, it says we were shown upstairs to the bedroom. The governor was lying on his back and it was obvious he was in pain. The female detainee began to touch the governor's feet. At that time, the governor, his wife, the detainee, the commissioner, and myself were in the room. I left the room and went downstairs. Sergeant Seman entered the house and went towards the rear of the house as if he were going to the governor's bedroom. The commissioner came downstairs, and for the rest of the time we were there, she went up and down the stairs several times. So says pretty much that after bringing the female detainee in to the governor, I think governor was in pain. The detainee started, I guess, went on to massage the governor, and then pretty much you guys left. And then it was the commissioner who was going up to check on the detainee. It doesn't look from here that you were one of them that went upstairs to the bedroom. It says here that, you know, after describing what happened upstairs, it says Sergeant Seman entered the house, which means you kind of came in late and you went towards the rear of the house. Is that kind of correct?
I don't know what's specifically rear of the house.
It says as if he were going to the governor's bedroom. I'm sorry.
You have to go through the living room and then upstairs.
Okay. So you guys basically all went upstairs.
That's correct.
Thank you. It says after about an hour or so, Sergeant Seman, the detainee, commissioner, and the governor's wife came downstairs to the kitchen, and we exited the governor's residence, and Sergeant Seman, Officer Borja, and the female detainee returned to the DOC. Commissioner O'Donnell and I went to Shirley's for breakfast. Is that pretty much what happened?
That's correct, sir.
Just one thing, do you recall roughly what time it was when you guys left the governor's house? Roughly.
About 5-ish.
Okay. Thank you. Any members? Representative Sablan.
Thank you, Chairman. Sergeant, were you on regular shift or regular shift duty that night?
No, I'm a 7:30 to 4:30 person.
7:30 to 4:30. And how did you get to be at the facility that evening? Beyond your regular work shift?
I was called in by the control that the commission instructed him to give me a call.
At around?
I believe that was 2 or 3 in the morning. Not too sure of the exact.
Okay. Were you reported to the facility? Who were you responsible to, or who do you report to?
The commissioner.
The commissioner, because she was on site at the time.
No, I report directly to the commissioner. She was at the site.
On the particular evening?
That's correct.
Okay. Now the instructions to transport the detainee came from?
Then Commissioner O'Donnell.
Then Commissioner O'Donnell.
That's correct.
Okay. So in your view, what transpired then was a result of the instructions or orders given by then Commissioner O'Donnell?
That's correct, sir.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chairman, you.
Any further questions? Representative Debdet. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a few questions to the Sergeant.
You mentioned that
Commissioner Don then, within that time period, January 8, you were not on shift because you're on regular working hour, and at that time your superior was Commissioner Don. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
Are you aware of the MOU between the our CNMI government and the federal government?
Most of the
Generally, you're aware that there is an MOU between the feds and the CNMI government for prisoners, or for federal prisoners, or federal.
Yes.
Okay. How do you become aware? How did you become aware of that? Was it through some sort of a training provided by your superior?
I was a part of the management for DOC, and part of that is we have periodic meetings with federal agencies that involve DOC.
Okay, thank you. Sergeant Seman, thank you so far for your candid and forthcoming comments. I do need to ask some questions though, just to determine whether you were aware of things. For example, again, and this is based on affidavits that are public knowledge. We also have an affidavit from the governor, but the affidavit I'm referring to is by the former commissioner, Ms. Aldon, and in her affidavit she states that when she spoke to the governor and understood that he had been experiencing severe back pain and requesting that Ms. Quing Mei Cheng provide him assistance, and that the governor was unable to go to sleep. So he also asked me to contact the Attorney General. I just wanted to know, since you were there, do you recall if the former commissioner attempted to contact the Attorney General?
I do not know, sir.
Okay. It also says that she also attempted to make calls to Deputy Hall. I think he's with the U.S. Marshals. Do you know Deputy Hall?
Yes, I do.
So, again, are you aware if the former commissioner tried to contact U.S. Marshal Deputy Hall?
No, I don't.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you, Sergeant Seman. Any other members? Okay, we're gonna move on. So can I make this the last? Go ahead, Rep. No, I mean, we'll make you the last.
Okay.
Last one.
Sarge, at the time of your incident, you said you were with DOC at the time.
January 8th?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, sir.
How long have you worked for DOC?
4 years.
4 years. So I assume that you also earlier mentioned that part of the management level staff that you were briefed on important issues about that involved the facility. You also and there was this was in regards to your questions pertaining to the MOE MOA with federal agencies in regards to the housing of federal detainees in the facility. So is it safe to assume that you then know, or you are versed in the policy and procedures regarding the removal of detainees from the facility?
Yes.
Okay. Earlier, I tried to verify circumstances upon which a a detainee would be removed from the facility. I'll just run through this very quickly. One would be to receive medical attention, court appearance, work detail, health and safety reasons like a fire within the facility, and maybe like a prostate detail. Is that a fair representation of what's in the policies and procedures at DOC?
That's correct.
Okay. Would you consider removing a detainee for the services it provided that early morning hours authorized by policies and procedures?
Sir, there is policies and procedures, and also we have orders from commissioners. That is all that I partake in this matter. That order was coming from the commissioner.
Coming from the commissioner?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other members? If not, Sergeant Seman, I want to personally thank you for your appearance, for your cooperation, and for your testimony. You are hereby dismissed. If the committee requires you to return to answer more questions, we may do so, provided we will give you ample notice. I don't foresee that we'll be calling you back, but this is just in case the committee so decides. So with that, again, we want to thank you, and I believe you've already provided our Sergeant at Arms with your contact number.
Yes.
Sir, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman and members.